one that believes in what you're doing. Have a good doctor, one that believes in what you're doing, because taking herbs and everything like that is great. Really, really great. But you've got to understand something. If you, let's say, you fall off a tractor trailer and your leg gets severed, herbs cannot sew the leg back up. But, like me, you get it sewn back up and everything like that, and then of course you take all of the precautions that you have to take in order to be able to maintain that leg. And how do you do that? Well, you exercise. You watch very carefully what you eat. You take your herbs and your vitamins for your leg. And that's what I'm here to do. Every week, about twice a week, I'm going to have a cooking show, and I'm going to cook on what to cook for strokes, because everybody thinks, oh my, I've had a stroke. That means no salt, no this, no that. But on the other degree of that, you have to understand that you can cook and you can eat healthy and it still be good. Very good, as a matter of fact. The other part of that is taking herbs and taking vitamins. They are good for you. They will make you stronger. They will make you well. They'll help you through any transition, just about any transition that you have. But you've got to understand something. You've got to work with everything. Body, mind, and spirit means just what it means. You just don't work with the body and forget the mind and the spirit. You just don't work with the spirit and forget the mind and the body. You have to feed every focal part of your body. So, having said that, and I'm going to talk to you about a little bit is about my herbs and what they do. And what I'm going to do is actually get some of my books and go over them with you and read them to you, so that you will get the better part of what I do and why I do it. I've been doing it for a long time. I've been a doctor for a long time. God. But there's two really good books. Just bear with me a minute. Ow, I should have had these out. I'm sorry. One is called Healing Foods. And that is an A to Z book and a compendium of all kinds of foods and stuff like that. And they're friendly foods. And that's really a great book. And we're going to get some excerpts out of there. And then we're going to go to I don't know what we're going to go to. I got so many cookbooks back here, it's pitiful. So just bear with me a minute. Like I said, I should have had them out, and I didn't have them out. So, you just have to talk about me and whatnot. And you can, I don't mind. Oh. I can't find it. Oh, here it is. That's what I thought it was right here. But I looked someplace else. This is the natural natural food cookbook, and this is also the vegetarian cookbook. They were right in front of me, and I wasn't looking. And then I had one. Oh, here it is right here. I had one from 100 years ago when my kids were little. My oldest child is now 45 years old, trying to tell you something, okay? And I learned, I must have been in my early 20s, and I learned quite a bit about that. And I was amazed at some of the stuff that I learned how to do that I still do today. One of the things that, it's funny about kids today, because they think that everything comes in a jar at the store, They tickle me because, I was a school counselor. I just retired, and we were talking about it, and one of the kids said to me, well, pickles come from a jar. And I said, no, not really. I said, they're in a jar when you buy them. I said, but pickles are actually a cucumber. And they said, well, how do you make them? And so I told them, I gave them the recipe and everything like that. And a couple of kids went home and actually had their mother make pickles. And I thought that this was amazing that most of the friends, one of my friends actually, I have to say this, okay, did not know that rice came from the ground. From the, I don't, how they process it and everything like that, I don't know. But I do know that there are rice paddies, rice fields and rice paddies. And she didn't know this, okay? And she was a really, really grown friend. And I'm like, how do you not go through this earth and not know where your food comes from? You think it just automatically jumped into a jar or jumped into a box? Everything has a process. So this one book, I'll reach over and get it. I'll reach over. I'm reaching. I kind of like that because I couldn't do it a few months ago. It was funny, it's been a year and some months since I've had the stroke, and I'm doing fine. And I could be doing better, but I actually don't do what I'm supposed to do all the time. But one of the things that I like about this particular book, and as you can see, it's all old and everything and wrinkled and everything like that, because I think I had this when my oldest child was like 3 years old, and my son was just born. And one of the things that I like, because like I'm lactose intolerant a little bit, and so is one of my granddaughters, but one of my granddaughters is lactose intolerant to the fifth power. And I've been studying lactose-free stuff, making a lot of lactose-free stuff along with her mother. And what I've been studying is, I'm actually going to make cheese. I'm going to make it on the recorder so that you can see me fupa as I go through all of this. But what's really fun is being able to discover all of these different things that are here. Now, one of the things that I have to go right to the beginning of this page, okay, and tell you what I did first, all right? And it amazed me. I was so amazed that I was just taken aback, and that was when I made my first, I think my first thing of blender mayonnaise, okay? Yeah, blenders were out when I was younger. Okay, I'm only 63 years old. Okay. And the blender mayonnaise, okay, just in case you haven't done it, it calls for 2 egg yolks, save the whites for tapioca, and then it says half a teaspoon of salt, half a tablespoon of white wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1/4 teaspoon of dry mustard, and a cup and a half of oil. And it could be any oil that you like. Well, nowadays, this called for salad oil, but nowadays, okay, most of us use olive oil or canola oil, okay? You mix it in the electric blender and all ingredients except the oil. Then you pour the oil very slowly, and that's the trick, to pour the oil very slowly in the blender, okay? And when you do that, you pour very slowly into the blender, and as it is blending, the success of the oil thickening depends on a very slow and steady pour. And as it thickens, you may have to stop and stir it with a spatula. Well, of course, people have gotten really fancy now. They have garlic mayonnaise, they've got chipotle mayonnaise, they've got any kind of mayonnaise that you can think of. And it's so easy that a lot of people say to me when I'm teaching classes, why didn't I think of it? And I'm like, well, where does mayonnaise come from? I think we have to get into the idea of, something that we lost. And that's actually reading the label and studying it and going along and trying to find out how it's made. Because, now we're in a recession, and, That helps when you can make mayonnaise. Like I used to always make blender butter. I buy it now, for crying out loud. But every now and then, when I want a good butter or something like that, I'll add something to the butter. Like if I'm making something special and I want garlic butter, I'll take the butter, soften it, and then add the garlic to it. Because to me, that's really, really good. But there are some things I'm going to play with in that soy butter because, again, my granddaughter is allergic to milk. So, soy butter, I think to me, with the milk and stuff like that, the soy milk or the rice milk and everything like that, I think that that would be better for her. And let me show you, if you can see this, you can see how, let me bring it close. Oh, I guess that's about it. You can see how I've used this. That's how old this is. But, it's a tried and true book, and I still use it. And they have one good one. I have some things I even wrote in here. Home cultured sour cream, which of course I use soy milk now. And then basic sour cream dip, clam dip, shrimp dip, and so forth and so on. I even have an egg shampoo for dandruff, which is 1 egg, 1 pint of hot rainwater, 1 spirit of rosemary, 1 ounce. Mix in the blender or with a wire whisk, and use the mixture warm and massage well into the scalp. Follow it with several rinses of clear water, okay? Or substitute with a strongly brewed rosemary tea. Now, a lot of these people think that we're just getting into this, or whatever, I don't know. But we're not just getting into this. We've been into this already. Organic food is what our grandparents and our parents used to make, if you're around my age. Anybody who's a baby boomer, pretty much, okay, knows that organic food is what our parents used to make. We actually used to sit down at the table and have dinner together. We actually used to sit down at the table and talk together. Now, of course, our lives are so, I don't know, I don't even know how to say it, but our lives are so busy that I guess we just don't have time. We need to make time because our kids are pretty well losing what we call family. And, to say all of this, things keep jumping up and down in my computer down there. That's why I'm looking over there. And what I think really is it's kind of scary. Now, I'm going to go through, I got one for tartar sauce. Now, this is really good. Okay? You ready for this? I'll have to write it in after, too. Tartar sauce. Okay, here we go. Now, this calls for 3/4 cup of plain yogurt. But if you don't want the plain yogurt in it, you can actually replace that with mayonnaise. Okay? And then a 1/2 cup of finely chopped dill or sweet pickles, 1/3 cup of finely chopped onions, a 1/2 teaspoon of dill weed. There's a difference, okay? Okay, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of horseradish powder, and a dash of salt and a dash of cayenne pepper. Now, when we're going back to the 1/2 cup of finely chopped dill or sweet pickles, that's the difference. It's a dill pickle or a sweet pickle, just in case. Okay, mix all ingredients together and refrigerate till the fish is ready. You talk about something good. I got some jalapeno peppers that I blanched and froze. Okay, we're gonna have some fun, some complete fun. I think it's about time that we learn to cook and we learn to do it right. Okay, it's it's just amazing. Now here's something, okay, for those people on a budget, and I used to love it, okay, and it's called tuna burgers. Now to some people that may sound really bad, but you can either use tuna or you can use salmon, and you can use canned salmon or canned tuna, or you can use fresh salmon and fresh tuna. say for instance